Good evening, boys and girls. This is David Duford at buylifeinsuranceforburial.com, where I help people like you get quality life insurance. And today's topic, in fact, is the guide to getting life insurance if you have high blood pressure and hypertension. So you're probably on this video because you yourself have high blood pressure problems or hypertension, or perhaps someone you love that you're looking for life insurance for has hypertension or high blood pressure. If that's the case, this video will do a great job in demonstrating you to the basics of what you may qualify for regarding life insurance, in addition to giving you more information on what types of life insurance there are. So let's get started. So on today's agenda, I'm first going to give you a formal introduction of myself and my company, and then I'm going to just outright answer the question, can you qualify for life insurance with hypertension? Then we'll talk about the different options, specifically term, permanent, and guaranteed acceptance life insurance that's available for you. Then we're going to talk about how to apply and then what the next steps are. So my name is David Duford. I am the owner of buylifeinsuranceforburial.com. What I specialize in is helping people with health history issues get quality life insurance coverage. I've been licensed as a life insurance agent since 2011, and I've helped over 3,000 families with their life insurance needs. Now, not only do I help people with life insurance, but I do a couple other interesting tasks in the life insurance business. Of course, down there in the corner you see my book. It's called The Official Guide to Buying Final Expense Life Insurance. I'm a published author. I'm also a national insurance agency owner. So I recruit and train agents across the country to learn and develop their abilities to help people like you in their own communities with life insurance needs. And last but not least, I'm married with children, and my fourth child is well on her way any day now, really. So wish us luck. So, can you qualify for life insurance if you have hypertension or high blood pressure? So the short answer is most likely yes. Now, of course, everything is not so simple when it comes to life insurance sometimes, and it always just is going to depend. It's going to depend on factors such as your age, and when we look at age, we're looking at primarily between 25 to 85 years old. But look, it's going to also depend on your other health issues too. I can't stress this enough. Most people just don't have hypertension alone. They may have cholesterol, they may have diabetes, they may have some other health issue. Usually people have a combination of issues when it comes to health. So those other factors will bear some sort of outcome and steer the direction in a different way. Either way, let's take a look at what you may qualify for depending on your hypertension or high blood pressure. And when we're looking for life insurance, the main thing that we want to make sure we understand and cover is that it's not enough just to pick up the first brochure or buy from the first agent that you talk to when it comes to life insurance. You see, the thing with life insurance is that not all life insurance options are the same. They're not all equivalent in quality, and they're not all equivalent in getting the same results that you need. So the best thing to do before you decide on what kind of life insurance to get, what company to buy, how much coverage to get, you need to know what your options are and what your goals are. You need to know what your goals are in accomplishing buying a life insurance. In fact, the first question I always ask is, what do you want your life insurance plan to do for you? So this takes some time to really think through, why do you own life insurance? You need to have a strong reason why you would pay money every month or every year and continually own life insurance. Life insurance is an interesting product, right? You spend money on it and you never actually see the benefit of it until you die, and so therefore you'll never see the benefit of it. Only the people you leave behind see it, and you have to trust in this process and really have a strong connection and purpose for having it. So most commonly what we see, there's three primary reasons someone would buy a life insurance their goal, the life insurance plan. The first is final expenses. So a lot of people buy a life insurance plan because they want their burial expenses covered. They want their cremation expenses covered. Maybe there's some final debts or final expenses that upon their death, they need to have coverage in place for, no matter when they pass away. That's a real good reason to buy a life insurance plan. Maybe there's not enough savings, or there's just a feeling that they don't want that savings locked up. There's also another good reason to buy life insurance, and that's for income replacement. Income replacement is a term that one can use whether they're young or old, and what I mean by that is if you can picture yourself dying and leaving your surviving family members behind, how would they get along financially? How would they get along economically? Would your death change things dramatically for your surviving spouse? If so, imagine if you had a large amount of insurance walk in upon your passing. How would that make their lives that much easier? Would it be a blessing? If you believe this, and you also believe that there is a lot of fear in your death, and not just in losing you, but also in losing your income, then a life insurance plan to cover for income replacement is an excellent idea. Again, you can buy these at all ages. It makes sense if you have someone who depends on your income. And last but not least is debt repayment. Common debt we see covered by life insurance is a mortgage. So if you have a large mortgage and you're afraid if you die, you don't want that mortgage to come current or be pressed upon your family to pay and then be having to be put out of their house because they cannot afford it, then a life insurance plan to cover that is a great idea. Also, business debts. Perhaps you have a loan out against your business and you need to collateralize the loan if to protect the bank if you died, so they know they get their money back. The second thing you got to keep in mind is what is your budget. This is important for me, probably more so than most agents, because my primary dealings in this business have been with people on a fixed income. And so I'm very sensitive in selling a plan to somebody that will actually keep it until the time does come that they pass away. The last thing I want to do is sell a plan that's dropped in 6 months or 12 months. Why waste your money, right? I tell that to everybody. So for me, the main thing is let's get you a plan that's easily affordable, that won't break the bank, and will do the job hopefully many years to come. So there's three types of plans really when it comes down to it that people with high blood pressure usually qualify for. And so let me describe them how they work. There's first term life insurance, second permanent life insurance, and then third guaranteed acceptance. And let's take a close look at how all of these work so you can better understand what your life insurance options are so you can choose the one that's going to fit your goals the best. So let's get started. So term insurance, if you've probably heard of term insurance, maybe you don't know exactly how it works, I'll explain it real quick. Term insurance simply is temporary coverage. Term insurance offers coverage for a temporary period of time. What this means essentially is that term insurance will only last for so many years before going away or being priced so high that it's just unsensible to keep. So for example, most term insurance lasts for 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years. You usually, depending on the age, have the ability to pick the length of time that best suits what your goals are. So let me talk about the benefits of term insurance. That includes level premiums. So for whatever length of time you choose for the term insurance, those premiums remain level. So if it's 10 years, the premiums stay the same for those 10 years, and 20 and 30 and so on. Now the great thing about term insurance is it's what I would call pure insurance. When I say pure insurance, there's no underlying accounts, there's no cash value with term insurance. There's no additional benefits beyond the fact that when you die, if you die within that period of time, the amount of coverage will pay out. And because it is pure insurance, there's no other factors involved with this insurance plan. It will pay usually the most coverage per dollar of premium. Now what's great about this is that this type of plan is perfect for large debts that need to be covered and large income replacement plans, especially if you're younger. Because income replacements is not just about covering for 1 year's worth of income, it's about covering for many, many years. And many times people need hundreds of thousands of dollars to cover their income, as well as a mortgage. Usually mortgages cost a good bit too. So a term insurance plan is great. Plus, they're also temporary problems. I'm a big believer that term insurance matches best with a temporary problem that you have. And you may be asking, well, income replacement's not a temporary problem, but a mortgage protection is. I'll start with the mortgage, and then I'll end with the income. So if you are someone who owns a mortgage, the idea is behind it, right? To pay it off, right? 20 to 30 years in time, you'll have it paid off. So you only need a term insurance plan for that length of time to cover that balance. So you don't necessarily need term insurance or permanent insurance for a temporary problem. You get to the end of your mortgage, it's paid off. Yeah, it's great to have the extra life insurance, but the coverage, the reason it was there has been satisfied, so it's not necessarily needed. Same thing with income protection. If you're a younger person specifically, older, we'll get to that with permanent protection. But if you're younger and you're in your 30s or 40s and you're trying to accumulate enough savings to retire at 65, then you just need this for a period of time up to 65 or whenever your goal retirement age is, to cover and replace your savings and income and everything else your money would have been used for to take care of your family if you died earlier than expected. So the goal, of course, is by 65 you would have adequately saved, you have a retirement plan in place, and so that extra life insurance isn't necessarily needed. So there's drawbacks to term life insurance, just like any product out there. The biggest is you could outlive. Look, we certainly set goals, and we set deadlines to those goals. And if we don't accomplish those goals, well, we just set a new goal. But what happens is sometimes, you may not hit the goal you think you should have, or life has a way of changing things, and you could outlive the coverage when it's still needed. That is a real risk of term life insurance. So you have to think very carefully about how much term insurance you want, at what length of time you want it to last. Now, term insurance generally has tougher underwriting than other types of products, and most compared to what I call simplified issue whole life, which is more commonly used for older people with basic final expense needs. Now, and when we look at blood pressure alone, usually if it's under control, you're going to get ratings that are standard in price, which means they're not going to be tremendously higher. So as long as your blood pressure is controlled, and usually over a longer period of time, underwriters are usually flexible with blood pressure. Now, if it's inadequately controlled or uncontrolled, or again, the biggest thing with blood pressure is combination issues, diabetes, heart attack history, smoking. This is going to be able to cause price ups. High blood pressure is a precursor to all sorts of other diseases. And if they look at you and decide that based on your history you're not controlling it, or there's evidence in the recent past where it's been out of control, these are probably going to cause charge-ups or higher premiums for coverage for you, with a potential being declined. Again, it's such a wide scope of different offerings depending upon the health issues. I can't say for sure exactly what to expect, except that when you've got a situation like this, if you have high blood pressure, it's best to have someone actually just take a look at it and submit an application, see what a company do, like myself. Now let's transition to whole life insurance for people with hypertension. So whole life insurance, a bit different from term insurance. Whole life insurance offers permanent protection. All that means is simply it cannot cancel because of age or health. And also another benefit is that rates never increase. This is the only exception to permanent insurance, where the rates never increase, is a plain universal life plan. Universal life plans basically are permanent protection, but with the ability for pricing to increase if the pricing requirements or premium requirements aren't satisfied. All that really means is that if you buy a universal life plan and it's not designed appropriately, you may experience price increases earlier than expected. There is a simple solution to that. That's what's called guaranteed universal life. It's a great insurance plan. It does permanent protection with a locked-in premium as long as you pay that premium, and it doesn't matter how long you live. As long as the length of time that the plan is in existence, it will cover you without a price increase. So those are great. There's also the benefit of first day full coverage potential, assuming you don't have severe health issues. And again, it's permanent protection. If you think about this plan as being a guarantee plan, in that sense, this is how it works. You know you're not going to lose your coverage as long as you satisfy the payment requirements. So you cannot outlive it. So it's great for permanent issues that you may have. Perfect example, most commonly used, is for final expenses. You want a burial insurance plan? This is a great idea. The biggest drawbacks to whole life insurance or permanent protection include a higher premium per dollar of coverage than term. And this is true across the board if you're young or old. You're willing to pay a lot more for the guarantee that a death benefit through a life insurance plan will be paid out. Think about it. With term insurance, there's a high odds chance you're going to outlive it, because the way these underwriters work at these term insurance plans is they design the plans and price them accordingly and offer them to people who they think are going to live long enough to outlive and not ever have to pay a death benefit. But with whole life insurance, now they have to pay it. And it could be early on in life, it could be a long time from now. So they have to price it higher, knowing that a death benefit will be paid. So many times the premiums are 5 to 10 times as higher. So be prepared if you're looking at whole life insurance to pay more than what you would expect. But that's just the cost of getting a guarantee. Now, underwriting standards, exactly the same for non-med or fully underwritten whole life and guaranteed universal life, as we showed on the last plan with term insurance. So it comes down to accommodation issues, whether or not it's controlled. Now, if there was some circumstance where you couldn't qualify for traditional term or permanent insurance, we do have what's called simplified issue whole life plans. They offer a lot more flexibility in underwriting if you end up getting declined or a significant rate increase with the other offers. So I do mention this as a plan B, but it's something that probably won't happen. I very rarely see some hypertension issues so bad that you get declined. It can happen though, but I want you to understand there are two different options. The plan B would be simplified issue whole life, and plan C, again, I preface it with the fact that this is only used in rare circumstances, as hypertension is easier to work with usually. I can't say for sure, of course. So the last choice here is what's called guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance. The way it works, very simple. The premiums never go up, the coverage never cancels due to age or health. But the biggest downside is that there's no natural death coverage for the first 2 years of the policy. If you were to die, they refund your premiums, usually with an additional 10% payout to your beneficiary. You are covered for accidental death on the first day. Coverage is limited to a maximum of $25,000 with most plans. You can stack those different life insurance plans if you need more coverage. But the bottom line here is that these plans are a last-ditch effort. I'm not really going to explain a lot of this because it just very rarely is going to be an option, because there's no health questions asked with this, but hypertension alone usually doesn't require a guaranteed issue type of product. So let's talk about how to qualify for a life insurance plan with hypertension or high blood pressure. So the application process these days is very simple. You need to pick an agent first that hopefully represents multiple companies that can shop for the best premium. Of course, I'll nominate myself, as this is what I do for a living. I help people like you, and hopefully you can see I do have a good knowledge base, and I'm willing to help you out if you need help. And then once your agent, like myself, listens to your goals and what your needs are, I would drop a quote for you, let you check it out. And if you like the quote, if you accept the quote, then the next process is to apply to see if they'll accept you at one of these companies we would look at. And the application process is very simple. You either do it over the phone or via the internet. Usually takes no visit to do this. And then the underwriter reviews your file and is either going to accept it or decline it. So that process is going to take several days or weeks. Assuming you're accepted, you'll be notified that you're approved, and then you'll get your policy in the mail a couple weeks later, and that's really it. It's a very simple process. So let's talk about the final steps. If you like the idea of applying for some kind of life insurance with a history of hypertension or high blood pressure, here's how to reach me. You can go to buylifeinsuranceforburial.com and you can request a quote. I recommend clicking the contact box at the top of the page, or you can click a pop-up box below that will allow you to send a message. Or just call me. You can call me at 888-626-0439. Leave a voicemail if you don't speak with me. I'm very busy working with people throughout the day. But I'll be able to, when I get back to you, give you a quote within 5 to 10 minutes. And then you'll be able to determine, hey, do I like it or I don't. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and like. I do videos like this a lot. And leave a comment below if I can answer any questions you may have. My name is David Duford at buylifeinsuranceforburial.com, where I help people like you get quality life insurance. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Take care.